Selling a tangible good is a visual experience. You can put it on the table, flip on the switch, and see if it meets your needs. You can view the features, see the benefits, and compare it to competitors. But selling professional services isn't as easy. You can't just switch on a consulting experience, view the results of an audit, or know what a migration process will look like before it's done. Somehow, you need to prove that your skills and experiences are worth the million-dollar investment that many companies make. So how do you sell a service you can't see?
A little bit about me, you say? Well, I'm Thomas Flynn. I'm a COMM 95. I'm an ex-KPMGer. I started Impact Analytics about 10 years ago, and I'm looking to get a $10 million loan from the bank, but they're just killing me for a financial audit.
About me? My name is Dudani, and I'm the big boss around here. Been a KPMG partner and been part of this company for about 20 years. And what we do is deliver value to our clients in the form of accounting, consulting, and legal services.
Sorry to interrupt here, but my name's Stea. I'm actually the director of the Proffice, and this is a real documentary on professional services. So before we let the episode unfold, I think it's good for you to get a bit of a background on the topic. So professional services firms, just like KPMG, provide support to businesses of all sizes and in all sectors. They provide specialized advice to their clients thanks to their unique accounting, consulting, and legal skills. They're characterized by a high knowledge intensity and a low capital intensity. Their greatest resource is their people, and the effective marketing of their people is how they win work. There are over 1,300 of these firms in Canada, and their average profit margin is 25%. It's an incredibly lucrative industry, and it's growing at a rate of 13%. And that's exactly why the way they sell can't be ignored any longer. Professional services firms aren't like standard services firms. There are 4 E's to keep in mind when comparing the two. First, expertise. Neil and Thomas are both current or ex-KPMG employees. While it's normal for some sellers to have background industry knowledge, it's much more likely that old coworkers meet again when consulting services are on the table. Next, experience. Neil looks young, but the partner pipeline in professional services firms takes a bit of time. Typically, senior management has limited sales training, and fresh and naive sales agents that we usually associate with this process are uncommon. In terms of execution, the person selling the service is likely also the person spearheading the job once it's sold. And while this ensures excellence, it also means that Neil now has to split his time up between actually getting the job done and making more sales.
And I actually do know Thomas Flynn from our time at KPMG together, and he recently expressed his interest in getting an audit over the call the other day. And so now we've actually set up a meeting to discuss this a bit further.
Prospecting potential clients in this industry differs significantly from the norm. In 2011, 51% of B2B firms buying professional services were willing to initiate contact with vendors after compiling a shortlist. Just 1 year later, that number dropped to 24%. Because of this hesitation to reach out, much of prospecting in the industry is done through leveraging personal connections, as you're much more likely to be on a client's shortlist if you've gotten in. The issue is further complicated when considering the lack of dedicated sales resources that can be on the hunt for new clients at any given time. The benefit of this complicated process: once a lead becomes an account, satisfied clients represent a permanent, renewable asset capable of continuously producing new revenue through repeat and referral. Success in offering professional services calls for more than expertise in a chosen field. Assessing needs in this industry is tough because, in spite of what a client may tell you, there's always an underlying problem that only makes itself known through its symptoms. Their concern might be that their business isn't reaching their full profit potential, or that their budgeting system is too complicated. As a partner, your job is to correctly identify the root issue, which ultimately delivers value in the form of an impressive ROI. Now, large organizations typically simplify the needs assessment process by issuing a request for proposal. For many consulting and audit firms, however, the RFP becomes more of a contract than a guiding document, as it's difficult to articulate what exactly a company might want to gain from the seller's services.
Nice to see you again.
Great to see you too.
Great to hear that Impact Analytics is doing well. Now I know you're pretty busy, so I'll keep it short. But could you tell me a little bit about what the bank is asking for and what you guys require from an audit perspective?
Absolutely. So pretty much what I've got going on here is I'm looking for a $10 million loan from the bank in order to fund my business's expansion plans. The only issue here is that the banks are pushing back a little bit, asking for some audited financial statements, and that's where you guys come into play. My only real concern is the cost.
You know, I definitely understand that. We actually recently worked with a small cloud security firm and they expressed similar concerns. And we found that providing them with a set of financial statements actually gave them some financial credibility. And so, would something along those lines, perhaps an audit of your past 2 years, be something for you guys to consider?
I mean, possibly, but the costs are pretty high.
Definitely. You know, as you are an ex-employee, you definitely have a good sense of prices. That being said, businesses that hire KPMG to do their audit actually have a 50% chance increase in receiving financing from banks.
The reality of professional services is that, fundamentally, you're selling an individual's experiences, designations, and skills for a significant premium with the promise of benefit on behalf of the buyer. It's similar to selling goods in that features and benefits should be highlighted, but it's crucial that sellers are honest about delivering results as it strongly affects final project compensation and reputation. Now, Neil uses a statistic to quantify the value that he can add to Thomas's company. Many professional services firms also further their credibility by publishing industry white papers and thought leadership that can, and should, be referenced when making a sale. The key in closing the deal is that it likely won't just take one meeting to sell the work. A prospective client has bits and pieces of a problem, but isn't sure how to glue them together. The services firm responsibility is to integrate them into a comprehensive whole. Now, that takes time. It may be a lengthy process to secure a client, but the afterwork they promise is worth the investment. Follow-ups are inevitable. Partners can succeed by offering subject matter experts at their disposal to further evidence their knowledge of the industry.
And Thomas, based on what you told me earlier and how important this $10 million loan is to you, you'll definitely want to give yourself the best chance of approval. How does that sound to you?
Sounds good to me. Let's do this.
Sounds good.
Neil and Thomas were able to close their deal quickly thanks to their strong personal relationship, but it's not always so easy. Increased action from smaller players and a trend towards digital consulting, audit, and law services complicate the selling process for many firms. In larger corporations, the ethical implications of doing business are also an obstacle. For the Big Four in particular, conflicts of interest are common as it is illegal to audit a firm that you also consult for, or vice versa. The saturated professional services market makes competition stiffer than ever. Looking to the future, there are a handful of strategies that professional services firms can implement to stay relevant in the sales field. To combat the impracticality of a sales force, a topic we will explore in our Producer's Cut Q&A, we recommend instead hosting sales training for those on track to partner in order to ensure best practices are followed despite the lack of specialization. Next, a cultural shift is necessary for firms to embrace a client-centric work environment. Tactics like maximizing time spent on client site and optimizing communication channels will increase the probability of companies returning to the same firm when tackling their next problem. And finally, in terms of incentives, top management should be adequately rewarded for bringing in a sale, as they often become a client for life. Now, if this director's cut was of interest to you, make sure to pick up these two Bibles when it comes to selling professional services. Thank you so much for listening. That's it from me, and hope you stick around for the Producer's Cut Q&A.
First question for you, Tyler. Why is it uncommon for professional service firms to employ direct sales forces?
Well, in the words of Warren Wooderick in his HBR article, How to Buy and Sell Professional Services, the professional salesman may be fine and dandy for tangible goods, but he has little to no value in the selling of professional services. He can only function as a middleman. What he really means by this is that buyers can only be assured that the service they are buying is of value if the person selling it to them is actually the person who is providing that service, which makes it really difficult for professional service firms to employ true salesmen.
How do you expect to train partners to sell, given the severe time crunch that they already face?
It may be the case that partners, who are the people that already do most of the selling in professional service firms, don't have the time or will to participate in sales training. A potential workaround for this is to actually train some of the lower level consultants in the organization. What this would do is instill sales skills in those who are the future partners and senior managers of a particular firm. Lastly, this would enable the lower level consultants to help partners in the early stages of the selling process, prospecting for potential clients, and even making that first reach out, thereby freeing up time for partners to focus on bigger picture tasks like closing deals and working on current projects.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kurskadin and I'm a manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers. The video that Neil, Thomas, Stea, and Tyler have put together effectively demonstrates the current selling practices that are undertaken in professional service firms such as PricewaterhouseCoopers. They've identified the key components required to successfully prospect, present, and gain commitment from businesses, as well as some of the major challenges that are facing the way sales are conducted in the industry. I can say that the best practices that they have laid out for selling professional services are especially true in my experience.